What is going on? What is going on, good people? What is going on, good people? Mic check on that. Mic check on that. Making sure everything is good. Everything is good to go. Sorry for the late start. Sorry for the late start. But y'all know me by now. Y'all know me by now. But we're going to be getting into this. Going to be getting into this. I dropped a pre-record on it. Dropped a pre-record on this. I like to do that sometimes. Drop a pre-record on a topic, then do a more longer format show on it and go into more details. That's what we more or less about to be doing. About to be getting into it. About to be getting into it. It's a ridiculous thing that happens, and I normally don't like to take the racial angle on it when it comes to stuff like this. But somebody was in my comment section, they were asking, and why did the person that they used for the swimsuit, why did he have to be black? Why did he have to be black? And there's a there. There's definitely a there because they say 25% of all roles in all LGBTQ roles are ultimately given to black people in movies and TV shows. 13% of the population getting 25% of those roles. So one could put on his tinfoil hat and say, "Hey, we see the agenda. we see we see the agenda to try to effeminize and emasculate, to masculinize the women and feminize the men." I normally don't go that route, but I get it. I get it. I get it. But we're going to be talking into that. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. So strap on in, strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. Where's the intro? Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Like I said, sorry for the slow start time. Sorry for the I should say late start time. I should say late start time. But the show must go on. The show must go on. Shout out to everybody in the building. We're definitely about to be getting into this. Definitely about to be getting into this. The wokeism has gone amok. The wokeism has gone amok. Still dotting I's and crossing T's with the startup of the show. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Got to do something really quick. But come on in. Hit the like button. Hit the like button as we get this thing started. Hit the like button as we get this thing started. All right. For those that don't know, I got a level of reluctance to show this. Basically, the Adidas did basically. I don't know if it's, I don't know. Is it Pride Month? I don't know what the reason is, but they did the whole thing where they put a man in a swimsuit, in a woman's swimsuit. They did that. They're advertising their pride line of the basic. Here's the deal. It wasn't like a unisex type of thing, even if you question whether or not that should be a thing when it comes to swimwear, whatever. No, it was full blown man in a women's swimsuit. Full blown, just saying, oh yeah, men are women, women are men, interchangeable. We're doing that. We're putting the man in a woman's swimsuit. We're just in that, and that's just what it is. And this was on the heels of, again, what I'm what I'm calling now the woke Olympics, because Bud Light, they had the thing going on. They had the thing going on
Here's a
here
little
with
known fact. Women were
not here, not here. Let me skip on this video. We're going to talk about that video, but this person whose name I don't quite remember. This person whose name I don't quite remember, but this person is a biological male. This person is a biological male who's being heralded as this triumphant woman that he completed the task of saying, hey, look at me, I'm a woman, and now speaking as a woman in a Bud Light commercial. Bud Light took some criticism and backlash for that, but Miller Lite, not to be shown up, they made their own version of a similar commercial where they kind of played or dabbled into the same thing. They kind of dabbled into the same type of territory, so to speak. And they did this commercial here. Let me get all the way off to the side. So yeah, it's probably better for now. They did this commercial here. We're going to get into the Adidas man in the swimsuit thing, but they did this commercial here.
Here's a little known fact. Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. How did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow. Look at this wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up.
Now, are we going to sit here and act like while they're simultaneously criticizing the horrendous act of putting they're gearing up for Pride Month. I forget when it's Pride Month. Oh yeah, it is June. My birthday is in June too. Anyway, while they're sitting here and criticizing the horrendous act of putting women in bikinis in beer commercials, they're currently doing a beer commercial with, guess what? You guessed it, women in bikinis all over the commercial. But let's point out a few things. I like to point out the details.
Look at this wild.
Hold on. Let's point out some details. They're blurring out the face of these women as if they are as if they're victims. You know how the victims get to remain anonymous. The victims get to remain anonymous. Yeah, conservative. Everything women love must be destroyed. But the victims get to remain anonymous. That's essentially what they're going with. That's the vibe here. That's the vibe that they're going with here. I'm looking at my title. Hold on, real quick. You said keep it paused for a second. Hey, any necessary ats, tags, or hashtags or ats that could be added to the title and then in the description, add those, by the way. Add those because I didn't do that. But yeah, they're like already out the gate. We can see that they're sending a narrative that these women who worked as models in beer commercials are victims. Now, they said paying homage to the mothers of beer brewing. Like women were brewing beer. Like I'm you're not talking about the people who started the company, created the science behind making beer. You're talking about employees that worked and did the brewing during that time. You know, if women weren't there to brew it, it would have got brewed. Men would have did it. Somebody would have brewed it. That's like, you know, the person that works on the assembly line. You know, he don't. What kind of homage does he get paid? Like, you know, it's a weird thing that they're doing. It's clearly a weird thing that they're doing, trying to make it seem like the early brewing of beer homage must be paid to women, therefore they can't be in commercials to help sell a male product. Like, that is some weird stuff that they're doing right there. That is some weird stuff that they're doing right there. Yeah, and this was a non-BBL era. Yeah, that is true. But but all right. But let's go ahead and get more into it.
Look at this wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their but the whole beer industry's Miller Lite has been scouring the internet for all this and buying it back so that they can turn it into good for women brewers.
First, we turn the bad into compost. Then we feed compost to worms. Push out beautiful fertilizer.
That good helps farmers grow quality hops,
which is then donated to women brewers to make their own really good
But there's definitely more out there in your attic and the
Hey, more women in bikinis. More women in bikinis. Be careful. Just because you're bleeping out the faces, you're still clearly trying to use women to sell beer. You're still trying to use half-naked, in-shape women to sell beer. You're still doing it. You're still doing it. Even while they're making this political point, they know nobody wants to look at the chick that they got making that point. Let's put some half-naked hot women behind her, but blur out their faces because they're victims of they're Me Too victims. And this is a commercial for a product that's consumed by men. Most of the commercials advertise products that are mostly consumed by women, but the rare instance of which there's a product that's consumed mostly by men, we have to smuggle shoehorn women into it and pander to women who are not the primary consumers of beer. It's just a weird, it makes no logical sense. It makes no logical sense.
garage in your parents' basement. Send any you got into Miller Lite, and they'll turn that into good too. Oh, so here's to women, because without us, there would be no beer.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot this one was coming. This was the first commercial that I would say cast the first stone in the woke war of taking products that is consumed primarily by men and making a negative ad campaign against men in a product that you wish to try to sell to men. Gillette cast the first stone in this stuff. Gillette cast the first stone. This is that Gillette commercial.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
This was roughly 2 years ago.
Who's the daddy?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
And they're chronicling the horror of microaggressions in a Gillette commercial.
We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But that's just going to make all men look like ridiculous, mumbling drone idiots, even though they're not the ones that 70 to 80% of the advertisements are for. So we're not the product drones. But anyway, in this damn commercial, they want to Men are just idiots that just buy into propaganda, buy into any type of propaganda.
Something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual
Turk.
harassment.
Say the right thing. To act.
Here comes the most egregious part in the video. The chick that's walking right there in the striped shirt, all that happened is the guy that's behind her right there saw her walk by and decided he was about to go holler. Look at this.
The right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Like, this commercial was ridiculous on so many levels. On so many levels. A commercial and a product that men buy. Like, they damn near went belly up over this commercial. Damn near went belly up on this commercial. It's like you go to war with the people that consume your product. Nobody wins. Nobody wins. It's just stupid, but that just shows the degree in which they're selling out and yielding to the whole modern era, modern wokeness of everything. But this was the first one. I think this was 2 years ago they did this.
Some already are. In ways big and small.
And now they're
I am strong. I am strong.
But some is not enough.
All these guys.
all right. This was a montage, so I don't even know who put this together. Shout out to whoever put this together. But then it ended with the with what was the most recent one. Well, I guess this is the one that started it all, the whole recent thing. This person here.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us.
Yeah, everybody knows what this is. Again, I don't keep up with the name of said. I don't know the name of the said individual, but this is someone who clarified, made it clear that videos being posted. Day 29 of being a woman. This is what it's been like. Well, this person is, this is going to be one of those woman of the year type of dudes that get in the commercial, that get heralded as this accomplished woman by committing the courageous act of putting on a dress and saying, "I'm a woman." Like this is the only time where y'all going to get me defending women like that. Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan I think I'm saying the name right.
So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with...
The feminists asked for it. They asked for it. They wanted it. They asked for it. They wanted it. Now they got it. Here's the deal with the whole LGBTQ movement, and I say this a lot. I say this a lot, that when they started out and they were only merely talking about acceptance and wanting to get married, everybody was cool with it. Not everybody. I was cool with it. I legit was. It's when it's when they got to the point to where a man claiming to be a woman who has not had surgery at all is on some, I'm going to be in the locker room with girls. I'm like, what? Wait, hold on. What? Locker room where you're going to be naked? Like, no. Then it got to, I don't know what it is. Drag shows for kids, transgender story time, drag queen story time. When it got on all of that, then I was like, hey, this is some goofy stuff. this is some goofy stuff. Forget Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, whatever, winning Woman of the Year. Like weird stuff like that. That was just eyebrow raised, like, oh yeah, this is stupid. But drag shows for kids, it's like that it's like if anywhere like being this, like I said this before, being as charitable as possible, if anywhere where that line was going to be drawn, it's like, can we draw it there? Can we draw it there? Okay, if this person here wants to prance around and say, "Hey, look at me, I'm a woman." Okay, fine. Okay, this person is allowed to do that. All right. Bud Light is going to lose their male customers by playing into it, because who are you advertising to? Who are you advertising to? The 1% of the population that wants to drink a Bud Light? Like less than 1% of the population who has gender dysphoria that wants a Bud Light? Like who are you advertising to?
Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too.
What's goofy in that is that, women, actual women, they root for whatever team their guy roots for. And that's like, whatever team you root for, I root for. It's like no, thank you. No, thank you. Don't need your team support. No.
Okay.
Anyway, but that was that commercial and the Miller Lite commercial. Those were the first stones that were not the first stones, because the Gillette commercial was the first stone. But this one was the one that was that really sparked a little controversy. Then Miller Lite saw what Bud Light did, and then Miller Lite said, "Oh no, we got to get in on this too." And then they came with the commercial where they were criticizing women being used in Miller Lite commercials to help sell, bouncy, pretty women being used in Miller Lite commercials to ultimately help sell beer. They criticized that whole process, that whole enterprise, while having bouncy women, images of those bouncy women all in their commercial while they're trying to make their point. They still had the women there. Okay. That's what they did. Then it went to a whole nother level. With Adidas. Now, what Adidas did is just I don't even know where to start with this. So I'm just going to play it. They're advertising their new line of swimsuits for women. And here.
It's got people really annoyed at Adidas. It's all because of the model. It's unclear how they identify, but some are saying Adidas should be boycotted for going woke. The company says the swimsuit's part of a pride collection celebrating LGBT plus people. The company says the swimsuit's part of a pride collection.
Freeman's Journal, no. Yes, it was visible, but no. Don't be dropping no eggplant emojis. That's what I do want to talk about right there. What you said right there. Notice how the images are of black men. Now, here's the deal. They do the whole wokety woke, all-inclusive thing when it comes to race and gender and sex and all of that thing. They do all of that. However, and yes, I stopped it with right on the furry chest on purpose. That's deliberate. I'll get into the race thing later. I'll come back to the race thing. Here's the deal. Why on earth? All right. Why on earth are they literally putting this dude in a swimsuit? Like, it's not even like homeboy ain't even trying to present in a trans kind of way. Like he's not even trying to present like that. You full blown hairy chested out there. Like, it's straight men when they hit the beach, they get the hair off their chest. If that's just how just if that's the look they want to go with, that clean, smooth chest look. They're like that. They just put a full blown hairy chest man with a bulge in women's swimsuit. It's like that's it's like where do you how do we even begin to analyze how any of it makes sense? Where do you start with trying to analyze that? Because the beer dude that I just showed, the Bud Light, okay, that's a man who's trying to pull off presenting as a woman, trying to pull it off, failing, but trying to pull it off. Homeboy ain't even trying right here. There's no such thing as a feminine bulge. Conservative. No such thing as a feminine bulge. Now, this is what I said in the early intro ramble. This is what I said in the pre-intro ramble. I said that it is true that 95 or so percent, not 95, I'm sorry, 25 or so percent of gay roles, LGBT roles in movies and TV shows go to Black people. There's a fair statement to be made that that's them trying to get a double minority hit. We could satisfy the Black quota that we want to meet, and we could satisfy the gay quota. Let's put them in the same person. The tinfoil hat more version of or explanation of that is that no, they're out here trying to they have a diabolical plan, a diabolical scheme to try to effeminize the men and masculinize the women, so to speak, if masculinize is a word. They want the women looking and presenting more masculine. They want the men looking and presenting more feminine. And they do that specifically to Black men and Black women. So when it comes to gay roles in movies or TV shows, they put more gay Black men in it percentage-wise. We're talking 25% of the roles coming from 13% of the population. Some have argued that even when just roles in general, when they make movies, 10% of the roles go to Black people, but when it comes to gay Black people, they get 25% of the roles. Some people argue that that is a purposeful, deliberate thing. That is a purposeful, deliberate thing that some people says. D-Rock Deer in the building says Black men are too quick and accepting to play those roles in Hollywood. Yeah. But keeping it real, see, okay, here's the deal. There are some Black men who are in position to say no. And what I mean by position to say no is, has your career taken off to the point to where you could literally say, hell no, I ain't taking that role. But then there's some people, well, they just take, I remember the movie, the show True Blood, the guy who played Lafayette, and I used to like True Blood, one of my top 5 shows all time. Gay dude was on there from the first season to the last season. Gay dude was on there. I've seen him in other stuff where he ain't gay. So the man ain't gay for real, but he played that gay role was his career maker, probably, and career breaker. It kept him employed for 9 seasons of that show. But at the same time, you don't see him in a whole lot else because people see him as a gay dude Lafayette on True Blood. So you just don't put him in, I guess they're reluctant to put him in other roles. I never see him. But he took that job. He took that job and he got paid. And had he said no to that job on principle, then what would his career have turned out to be? Oh, Lafayette died? Did the character die or did the actual person die? Because, it's been a while. I can't remember the show. Lafayette didn't die towards the end. R.I.P. Nelson Ellis. Okay. All right. Cool. I forgot. Either I forgot or didn't know. But Lafayette made it to the end of the show. I'm talking about Lafayette, not the character. I think Lafayette made it to the end of the show. True Blood was a good show, True Blood was a good show. Yeah, had no idea the actor died. Either maybe I knew and then later forgot. Maybe I knew and then later forgot. Says Omar was one of my favorite characters, but I didn't get what the purpose of making him gay was. The guy that he was based on was not gay. It's like you're talking about a different show. All right. Now here's the deal, and I pointed this out. Now keep this in mind as well. Keep this one. Where we at? Now, y'all's president, Joe Biden just tweeted this. This is right around the time when all of the LGBTQ stuff was coming out. Not coming out, but right when all these commercials and everything is dropping and whatnot, right when all of this is dropping, right on the heels, and they make they like RM said, they're gearing up for June. Joe Biden says today on the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia. It's not as much biphobia out there. People be lightweight okay with with bi women, and bi men they get the same treatment. But people okay with bi women and transphobia. I stand with the LGBTQI people around the world. Everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity, no matter whom they love or how they identify. People are entitled to be treated with dignity, no matter whom they love or how they identify. Now, some of y'all may disagree with the next statement that I'm about to make here, but on its face, by itself, there's technically nothing wrong with that statement that Joe Biden is saying right there. It's technically nothing wrong with it. Just saying that, hey, whoever you are, if you're a person, you're in America, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, you deserve to be treated with dignity and love, regardless of what, fair. But
celebrating LGBT plus people.
Do any of this make sense, though? Does any of this make sense to put full-blown biological men with hairy chests and bulges in bathing suit commercials to advertise to advertise to who? To advertise to, like, what? Who are you advertising this to? Is that really the thing? We want the 1%, the less than 1% of the population who have dick and balls that want to get in a women's swimsuit. We want to make sure we get their dollars. So we're going to put a whole ad campaign with men in women's bathing suits. It's like it's a weird thing, and it's like just like with Bud Light, just like with Miller Lite. Who are they targeting? Who are they? I think in a roundabout way, they're probably going with the. I can say this about Miller Lite and Bud Light. I can't say it about this. In a roundabout way, I'm trying to make it make sense. Maybe with Adidas in a roundabout way, by doing this, they're going to make the more woke, liberal-leaning women say, I'm going to buy more Adidas product. And they're probably thinking that the men who buy Adidas shoes or whatever they buy that's from Adidas, we got them from forever. We're going to always have them as customers. We want this new wave. We want that. We want to get the female consumer buying more stuff, not more of these swimsuits, but we're going to dog whistle to the wave of wokeness and try to bring or lure them in. That could be the advertisement plan. I don't necessarily think it'll work, but that could be the advertisement plan. But at some point where lines have to be drawn, and I was saying this repeatedly in my pre-record, it seems like the line would be drawn as hairy men with bulges and women's swimsuits. And I just wonder, I wonder with Joe Biden's statement here is like, do they process that? Yeah, and that means we support hairy men with bulges and women's swimsuits. Do they process that? It's like, on one hand, it's fairness and tolerance of people in their difference. On another hand, it's like, yeah, but do we support the hairy man with a bulge in a women's swimsuit? Okay, we want to accept all people and not be a dick. Okay, talking about a bulge in a swimsuit. We want to accept all people and not be a dick. But at the same time, you look at what they're doing. Look at the stuff that they're normalizing. It's like transgender story time for kids should have been the line. Drag shows for kids should have been the line. And within that line, the transition closet should have been a line. And within that, hairy bulges in women's swimsuits should be the line. Should be the line. The shit is beyond. Shit is beyond goofy. You said Joe didn't get a nap. And cut it out. Joe is wide awake. Joe is wide awake. But we are joined by Freedman's Journal in the building. What is going on? What is going on? And what do you got on this? What is going on and what do you got on this?
Hey, good afternoon, Bernard.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey, yeah, this got to go all the way back in the closet. All the way. I'm old enough to remember when this started with a single word, tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
And this eventuality was warned about back when they started using the word tolerance.
I don't know if you know, but every Saturday show, not every Saturday show, but it came up at least 4 times in the Saturday shows that me and Hood Conservative do. They got me with the word tolerance. They got me hook, line, and sinker. I bought it. I bought it. I was like, yeah, tolerance all day. They're right. They're right. Don't be a bigot. Tolerance. They got me.
Yeah, I did not, but just saying it's time to go back. It's time to roll it all the way back, because everyone who said it would come to this point was right, and we just gotta chalk it up.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. It's trash down. I don't know if you heard that, but yeah, I mean it is what it is. Back past don't ask, don't tell, back past all that. Because there, what value is it? Is there any value to it? Has it improved anything?
No.
I mean, especially not for black people. Now you got who profited off of BLM? Huh? Them folks. Who's getting promoted as much as black men are in this gayness? It's just a lose-lose for the black community as a whole. So,
what do you think about that part of it where, and I hesitate to say that, okay, it's a diabolical scheme to effeminize black men and make black women more masculine, but what do you think about the fact that they say 25% of all gay roles go to black people? We're talking 13% of the population. They're doubling the population percentage when it comes to gay roles. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what black women like seeing, so that's what we're gonna see, and we're gonna see more of. It's all to that demographic. So if black women on average did not support it so much, right, it wouldn't be there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's just them trying to advertise to or just I don't know if that's just a pander to black women with that. You know, they obviously want to pander to the LGBTQ community or whatever. And I do think that they're meeting two minority quotas at once by having them person. Okay, let's get a gay person on the show. Let's the main character ain't gay. Let's have one of the friends be gay, one of the best friends be gay. Oh, and let's make them black too. Let's do a gay black best friend. You see that trope a lot in shows, the gay black friend of the main character.
Well, yeah, it's part of the culture, man. It's the people who are writing the shows, right? They're just reflecting their own culture in the show, and that's just part of it, right? The liberal black female, they support that as well, right? And another reason you see a lot of that in these shows is there's going to be the black woman in the writing room, right? That is expanding, and who are they going to write in? So it's all a kind of a reflection of that culture. I mean, and it's everywhere, man. Like, I don't know, I can't help but notice, because when you start scrolling through Netflix for shows, and then it seems like every show has a black male gay sidekick of some sort. It's just like, dude, really? Like, it's just everywhere. And then I took the time to kind of look at just kind of go online and look at roles for black men that are heterosexual and or black male fathers, and there is a dearth of that content, right? It's like the black male father is extinct. You went from the Cosby Show to where we are now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Shout out Captain Cisco in the building. He says Christian back in '90s were right. Yeah, I thought they were a bunch of crazy ratting and raving religious right quack jobs. Just talking about how the sky was falling. But no, a lot of the stuff that those crazies said is happening. It's happening live. It's happening now. And also D Rock Den in the building with a $5 cash app says he says I give up beer and growing out a beard. So they made this man he ain't shaving no more. He ain't shaving no more, and he ain't drinking no more beer. They done made D Rock Den give it all up. They done made D Rock Den pack it on in. D Rock Den had to pack it on in, but shout out to D Rock Den and shout out to who we got on Captain Cisco in the building says Chris.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Yeah, Nick Taylor. They weren't so crazy after all. They weren't so crazy. Weren't so crazy after all. But yeah, damn, what was I going to say? What do you think what do you think about your president's Joe Biden's statement here, in the name of the word that I should view as a dirty word now because they got me with it, but in the name of tolerance, by itself, nothing wrong with this statement. When you look at the practicality of what's being done, something is wrong with the statement. But
I'll push back on that. It says everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity. No, they're not. Do you carry yourself with dignity? Do you act dignifiable? Right? Are you doing that? You can't just do anything you want to do and be treated with dignity.
Well, okay. I think what reads into that is how they everyone is entitled to be entitled with dignity. Okay, I'm saying regardless of, I think he's saying who you love and how you identify shouldn't determine the level of dignity you're treated with. So you shouldn't treat somebody in an undignified way if they have a particular sexual orientation. What do you draw a hard line that no two gay people over there just doing their thing, minding their own business, that they shouldn't be treated with normal human common courtesy and respect? Do you draw that hard of a line?
No, I don't care. But that isn't
that's where I'm at with that.
But that isn't what's happening, Bernard.
I know. That's what that's what I'm saying. It's two sides to it. On one side, there's gay people living their life, minding their business, not bothering nobody. Then there's the political, social, mostly political gay agenda, and then that's where the waters get muddy to where you can't be the tolerance person like how I was, and not and not look at this as this clearly has to be supportive of the whole agenda aspect of it, much greater than two gay people just living their life together and minding their own business. And that's where they lose that's where they lose ground in as far as just being respected in the debate or the conversation, because it's like on one hand it's like they wanted tolerance, they wanted acceptance, they got to sit at the table, now they're snatching the mic from everybody else, and they're basically they essentially became the bullies that they said everybody else was. They so in many ways when once they've become that and they're pushing an agenda with it, now when you look at his statement through that lens, now you can't respect it or play fair with that. It's like you gotta it's like it does have to be a equal pushback when you're seeing the transgender story time at the school. It's like hold on, it's like, yeah. So anyway,
yeah, I put a link in the back, right? So don't ask, don't tell turned into this.
What am I looking at here?
You're looking at a sailor.
All right, well, let me go ahead and okay, let me pull it up. You got to explain to me what's going on here. I see a dude and a dude chick.
Look at the tagline: UM Sailor Drag Queen.
Okay, UM Sailor Drag Queen. My opinions are not endorsed by the USN or the DOD.
And this guy was in an ad. This guy was in a recruiting ad. So from don't ask, don't tell to this, right? This is the reality of Biden's statement, right? Now, have there always been?
Wait, hold on. Were they in a recruitment? Was this person in a recruitment ad like this?
I wanted to apologize in advance.
Looking like that?
Yeah,
or like this.
I am your mother. You listen to me.
Okay, that's all the same. All the same. Okay. All the same.
Not stunningly different.
Right. No, you can see him right there.
I am your mother.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna see him transition.
Here, I'll put another link.
Ain't it bad when when women do their makeup, they do exactly what this dude is doing. They do the same hieroglyphics. It is so funny. It was a chick. I was actually out with a chick, and it was we were in Michigan, but it was real hot that day, and it don't get makeup melting hot out here, but it got hot that day, and I guess her makeup and all her adornments or whatever was melting off, and she was like, "Man, it's hot out here, and I'm out here in full drag," and I was like, "Oh shit." It's like, but it's funny that some women, talking about actual women, women, they jokingly call it that. They jokingly call it being in drag. It's like they understand what they're doing. They understand that when they put on this much damn makeup, they are drag queening themselves up. When they put on this much damn makeup, and their makeup, the wig, the lashes, the nails, and all the whole thing, everything when they put on that much of it, yes, they are in full drag. They're in a costume.
Oh yeah. I mean, bro. And I put another link in the private chat. It shows a story on the actual digital ambassador. So, I mean, that's why, that's why it just has to go, man. People need enough spine to say enough of this. You know, I'm surprised teachers can still do this, man. You know, to be honest. I mean, I think the best thing that ever happened to the public school system in my area is that I can afford private school for my daughter, because I don't know how I would be able to contain myself if, if something like this happened to my kid. Someone's got to pay. So, yeah, just roll it all back. Just roll it all back.
Yeah, what's the probability of you see it going in that direction? I remember I was just listening to somebody and they were saying culture societies, they always move further to the left. They never make their way back right. It's like it's just gonna keep progressive. It's just a matter of where you're gonna stop it, not whether or not you're gonna effectively roll anything back. It's just, can you stop it from going any further? Somebody argued that. What you think on that?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm gonna see what this video is about, and we'll get Hood Conservative in on this one. But let me see what this video is about to get some sound on it. Hold on. All right. All right. I hope this male stripper music, this white boy stripper music they playing don't get me flagged. I ain't never seen Magic Mike, but I imagine that's what they was playing on Magic Mike. I just imagine that had to be what they was playing. But all right. But hopefully y'all read what was down there. There was no audio commentary with it, but that basically made the point that they went woke. They used the individual to recruit or whatever, and they didn't meet quota because they went woke. That was basically what I gathered from that. And now that person is still TikToking about. But anyway, Hood Conservative in the building, man. What's going on? What you got on this? Oh shoot! There you go.
Yo, what up? Oh
What's
man,
up?
I was just thinking, I was just putting some content together because I think I might go live later on tonight, and then I know tomorrow we'll do our show. But they are making laws right now to restrict some of this stuff. This is a little bit way past the pale of what you're talking about right now, with just the transgender promotion and having gay people on TV. I'm kind of I'm looking at the bleeding edge of this sort of wave, and it really literally is a bleeding edge, right? Because if you're on Twitter, every so often, if you follow the kind of stuff I follow on Twitter, right? There are photos going around of people who have had what they call the gender affirming care. Are you familiar with gender affirming care? It's a medical procedure in which they medically care about the gender you want to be, and basically what that means is they surgically remove and alter your genital tissue, and voila, you're a new gender now. It's like getting a transmission installed. And
Wait a
every
minute.
now and then,
How does, wait, hold on. How does what you say differ from a sex change? They're not. They're just moving tissue out of you.
I'm using their words. It's gender affirming care. I mean, it is what it is. You're not wrong, but their word for it is gender affirming care. They do it because they care. So they will surgically, radically alter the genitalia of like 13 and 12-year-old boys and girls. So young girls are having their what do you call that tissue? Um, the breast tissue. I forgot the word for it, but they're having the breast tissue removed, and they're becoming, boy chest. They get the bird chest now. It's crazy. And the boys, it's even worse. Well, I don't know who has it worse, to tell you the truth, because it's no fun for either person. Like, getting a vagina installed isn't all that less painful than getting a penis installed. And the point I'm making with all this graphic language is that several states have started to pass laws saying that you can't do this to children, right? And people are getting pissed.
Yeah.
People are upset. They're mad. They're like, what? It was my right. You're interfering with my parental right to turn my boy into a girl. And so that's the kind of content I was like putting together. And you just happen to go live talking about this stuff today.
Yeah. This is Yeah, this is wild. Like, I don't even be digging. I don't dig as deep as you on this. Like, when this surface level, when they just put a dude with a hairy chest and a bulge in a woman's swimsuit for an Adidas commercial, I talk about it. But yeah, you be rabbit holing this shit. I don't be going that deep.
Well, no, you guys were kind of talking about the slippery slope nature of the whole biz.
Yeah.
Like, the Christians were right back in the day. Those racist white folks, they was right. And that's kind of what's going on here. It's like, no. We all got sold the happy gay. You remember in the 80s, the happy gays? What was that one movie? This is the first time, this actually two times. It kind of came around at the same time. But this is when I remember noticing a gay person on TV. And I didn't even recognize them as gay at that moment because I was so young. But I remember them as being very, very, very different. And it was the black gay dude in Revenge of the Nerds. And it was what was the black gay dude from the movie Mannequin? He also, I think he went on to play on that other Designing Women show later on. But I remember that. And those were the gays that they sold us, right? Well, as it turns out, he was just holding the door open for the other guys. And didn't I tell you, I said this on the show, I think, and it kind of creeps people out when you think about it because it's a fucked up thought. But somebody put this on Twitter once, and I never got over it. Behind every gay person is a more gay, evil gay person. And I was just thinking about that. And then, every other day, something more evil and gay happens. And I'm like,
Well, here's a something. The guy from Designing Women, Meshach Taylor, he was straight. Remember, a lot of Hollywood stuff. There's a lot of people who are behind the scenes who are in that community, but there's a lot of people who have to play in that community. The father from Family Ties, I believe, was also in that community, right? But he played a straight cop from Chicago.
No, actually, Reginald Vell Johnson, I believe he was gay. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know for a fact.
Meshach Taylor had like 4 kids.
Well, that doesn't mean he wasn't gay. That's the whole thing about bisexuality. Like, no. It doesn't matter how many kids you made.
Yeah.
But it's like Hollywood is weird for that reason, and I don't think people have paid attention to what has. This is obviously what has happened in Hollywood over time, right? A lot of the gay people who otherwise would have, I don't know, found a regular job and stayed in a closet or something, Hollywood gives them an opportunity to like express all of their ideas and creative homosexuality. And eventually all those things make their way to the viewing public. It might take some time because, they got to push the needle slowly. But we're starting to see it now. Like, these are all the fantasies of some like weirdo in Hollywood.
It's not just some. I'll tell you, I worked, my first job out of college was as a database admin for a company that worked in this community, right? These people are very well organized, very well funded. And the overwhelming amount of them are not in the T club, right? There are some people who are there who will be, but that is the minority of minorities. Most of them are what you would imagine like butchies or some are femme, but like the T Club, those people are like the minority within a minority, and most of them are pre-op and don't really pursue the op. They're more like trying to live in the dress and in the mannerisms of, and not necessarily chopping stuff off. Some of them will take pills though.
Yeah, I've always viewed it that way, and it's an additional. It's weird on top of weird. Okay, it's already weird shit going on, but then it's like another layer of weird. It's like, okay, you got gay people that are 3% or 4% of the population or something like that. Okay, that's something like Asians. I think they're like 4 or 5%. Okay, so we can see that that's a thing. Then within that group of gay people, that's like 3 or 4% of the population, there's an even smaller group within that probably makes up maybe 1% of that 4%.
Yeah.
But why? But hold on. But why is that aspect of it pushed so strong to the forefront?
Because they have a lot of control in media.
You damn near see a trans person now more than you see just a regular gay person. Regular gay person. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You will see a lot of people live closeted, especially in the major cities, right? Like not everyone is out and proud. But I'll say the thing about the InBev thing that got me is like people are seeing it as the new marketing campaign tanked them. Meanwhile, they make a crappy product, and they've been going downhill as to what the revenue they can get from their crappy product for at least since InBev purchased Anheuser-Busch. There's just too much competition in that market from small craft, mid-craft beers. And you think like Dogfish Head makes a lot more per cost than someone like Anheuser-Busch, who has 3 major factories, and they make piss water for their drink, but they still have to pay for all that cost for the infrastructure, the staff, the delivery routes, and you can find them everywhere. But I think, Bernard, you said you used to deliver. Would you normally check like just on offhand when the expiration date would be on certain packages and kind of get a feel for what the market was bearing as far as that product? Or was that something that you didn't really concern yourself with? Because I think most people don't see that, and a lot of that stuff that's out there is covered in dust and just not selling. So I think this thing is a red herring for something that would just say they're bad business and they're just not selling like they used to.
Well, no, they're not. They're not selling like they used to. I mean, you're right about that, but they're still the largest sellers, right? It's not like there's still distribution via sporting events, concert series, things of that nature. That whole summer market is still going to make them a lot of money, and that's why to your point, that's why they're buying up all the small brewers. Like
they've been doing that for the past decade.
Yeah.
Well, now you raise that point, and now you have to kind of ask a follow-up question. Why would you do this? And this is what I mean about, behind every gay. Because now it becomes a thing of like, so the money is on the table. Like there's money on the table, well, money on the line, rather. And you got dwindling sales, you got a shrinking market share, and and then you're basically like a legacy brand when you talk about Anheuser-Busch and, having major placement in all these different Americana events, right? This is like a legacy brand. And you're going to now at this moment do something that is it's intentionally offensive to your core audience, which is like the male demographic between 21 and 35 or whatever. You have to ask yourself why. Why would you do this? And I can't think of any like fiscal, business sound reason for doing it. And then it just comes to the whole. I have a theory about I got a lot of weird theories, but I think there's a little weird moment of revenge happening. Like how I was talking about the movie Revenge of the Nerds. Like we're kind of living through Revenge of the Gays.
So you mean like tank this product just because they were never included in the first place?
Well, not so much tank the product. Like the product is a bystander. That's like, what do you call it? Collateral damage. It's to attack straight men, heterosexual men. And it's not just Revenge of the Gays. It's also, feminists and the gays teaming up for Revenge of the Gays. But if you think about it in terms of like everything straight men love has been attacked over our lifetimes. Well, the last 20 years, right? From cartoons, movies, comic books, sports is getting feminine and gay now. There's nothing that men have had as, the man's domain. Hell, the military, which is like one of the last bastions. I guess somebody mentioned the Marines. I guess they're the last holdout of military masculinity.
Damn
But
straight.
everything that men love has been under assault. And when you look at it from that element, from that angle, then you have to ask who. And my answer is, Revenge of the Gays. Women and gays have teamed up for this revenge quest.
I'll say two things. The Marines did have a landmark moment in the past 5 years where they had their first chief of, I guess, armed forces, their first general who was black. So that's a sea change that they weren't ever going to go through until it just happened. So that might actually change in the next 5 to 10 years. And another thing about Anheuser-Busch is that they had a strong union and still do to some degree. Where I have relatives who work there.
Hold on, sir. I'm sorry. My apologies, my good friend, but I don't want to let this moment go by unnoticed.
Please.
Are you insinuating, my good sir, that the introduction of the first the first black general is a sign of the gays to come?
No, that there is a change that could happen. The Marines was always...
I'm just saying, the way you laid it out, it was like, well, they already got a black guy. Next thing you know, they're going to be kissing in the hallways.
Yeah, the Marines was the last to integrate. That's part of their motto, their song. From the halls of Tripoli to the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Like they never intended to have the Marines to be an integrated force, but they were forced to. 1940s, but I was going to get back to the bigger point was that one of the things is if they can show that they have a business unit that is not doing well at Anheuser-Busch, they have a reason they can justify cutting benefits at that organization, including cutting the union. And that union has always been pretty powerful. I know a lot of people who worked up from package to brewmaster and retired with, 8-figure pensions and 401ks. So if you need a company to survive like that, this is a good weapon to do that.
I'm not sure if I'm understanding the theory, and that's probably I was distracted doing some other stuff. But you're saying, like, what do you mean? If you just re-explain that again, I missed it. I'm sorry. What are you saying? What exactly are you saying?
You need a justification to break a union, right? You need a justification to break their benefits. Right?
Are you saying they're trying to break? It's not like you're saying a company is trying to destroy itself. That's why I'm confused.
Some will, yeah. And a lot of companies that are InBev is a international company. I think they're based out of Belgium. And one thing that a lot of companies like about America is that you can have the same type of operations here without a union, even though in their home country, especially in Europe, they'll have unions and they just have to deal with it. Because you see France, pretty much all of the European countries, they have strong unions and they'll break their cities over the course of a garbage strike, train strike, etc. Right? But they even have that in the private sector too. In America, we don't really do that as nearly as well as that, right? So if you want to break a union that's been there since at least World War II, from what I remember, a lot of the guys who used to run the union were World War II vets, Vietnam vets, Gulf War vets, guys who didn't go to the college route, take the cash for, what do you call it, the college money, right? But they went to a good blue collar job, joined the union, got a good paying job, and wound up retiring there. But if you can break that type of organization through whatever means possible, right? Tanking your part of your industry. Because I know they own enough of those small batch, hard seltzers and all those things that they make money. And they, like Conservative said, they have that summer, or Friedman said, they have that summer market, country concerts, MLB games, all that stuff. But if you can justify something in order to accomplish another goal, you could use whatever tool you want to get to that goal.
Yeah, that's a thought. It's still a hard one to wrap your mind around. Like, I think somewhere in their mind, somebody thought it was a good idea. There's Hood Conservatives' Revenge of the Gays theory, like the Gillette thing. They thought that was, I believe somebody honestly thought that was a good idea. But
it's just culture. right? The people who are doing the advertising are of that culture. So when they think to do an ad, they know what will sell, right? They know women in bikinis will sell, right? But that is not their culture. So what are they going to do? Well, we want to expand it because we're losing business, yada yada. It's any excuse, right? And the thing is, they say the term that the companies are bending the knee to wokeism. No. The call is coming from inside the house, right? That's just who these people are. If you've hired them, this is what they're going to turn out. So then I think to that point, I think Hood is right. The revenge, the nerds, right? The lady from Bud Light was saying, "Oh, it's fratty culture, yada yada," right? Those are just the guys who wouldn't sleep with her, right? If those guys would have slept with her, she wouldn't have this antipathy towards them. So,
Well, even more symbolically than that, it's the patriarchy. Each and every one of those men represent like the patriarchy, and so they have all these media campaigns and different commercials where you're witnessing the patriarchy being taken down a peg. And so, like Bernard, in the beginning, you were kind of like feigning, confusion about the whole ad thing. Like you're using naked women as you criticize the use of naked women. And I'm like, bro, look at the symbolism. They literally took your dreams and turned it into compost. You know what that means? They mixed it up with the shit and the garbage and then tried to grow their own beautiful new thing out of your dreams. You know how hateful that is, psychologically speaking? That is a very aggressive act if you look at it for on that level. And so when you think about these things that way, it's like, bro, it's so much deeper than just, let everybody be equal or not. There's a hatred going on here. Like they seriously dislike you and what you represent as men, not just white men either, as men.
All right. Saladim El Rahim, he was referring to companies destroying themselves. He said they destroyed Marvel Film Universe with feminism, but I don't think they're trying to destroy it on purpose. I think they actually think that this is a good thing. And I think they're not doing it on purpose. They're not doing it on purpose. I just finally saw Ant-Man in the Quantum Manium. Could have been better. Could have been better. Anyway, Sir Tice, you got a little background noise.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop on and hop back. You can read it, and I'll be
all right. Sir Tice in the building with the $5 super chat. He says, I think what he, meaning Hood, is saying is similar to how cultural communism works. They're trying to destroy so-called evil corporations from the inside. Oh yeah, yeah. I get. Ooh, I ain't about to go there. Yeah, a lot of people do that with blackmail spaces online on YouTube as well. But anyway, yep. So yeah, I guess I do see that. Wow. I could see that now. He said the magic words that made me see it. Yeah, you join these companies, you become a part of these companies. These companies built and started and ran by men. You smuggle in all your ideas, views, thoughts, and perspectives and work your way up. And then you gain the trust of the people on the inside and start rolling it out, and you get their support. And now everybody on the inside is saying this is a good idea. And then y'all roll the shit out and it don't work. And then you play the victim after you roll it out. And yeah, and if they fire you for it, then you can file a lawsuit against them. So they're either gonna let you ruin their shit or they're gonna face the lawsuit because for you're gonna have to deal with a homophobic lawsuit. Yeah. Sounds like a plan to ruin these
That's also
companies. Yeah.
That's the Jesse Jackson strategy. I mean, well, really, Al Sharpton, I guess, is a better way to frame it. That's the Al Sharpton strategy. It's a nice business you got here. It'd be a shame if somebody protested it, and that it works. And people have been falling to that for a long time now. That same strategy has been in play for probably 70 years in this country.
Easy, Hood. Hey, good afternoon, gents. Salute to the chat. Happy Friday to you all. Let me just build on that. Yeah, this is why this so-called push for DEI, diversity and inclusion. What is it? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. No, it's just we want you to fit these different boxes, but you better have the same ideology as us or else, you know. But what really told me this, did you follow up on with the Bud Light? Let's think of Bud Light, what it is. Bud Light is basically for trailer park types, country, you know, rural. Most people, you know, it's an easy beer to order if you just let me get a Bud Light. But most people I know don't really drink it. Okay, I'm just saying it's relegated to and also young college students, right? The chick who created that campaign with Dylan Mulvaney, I don't know if you saw her reply to it. She's now on paid administrative leave now, but go figure there. But she was saying that Bud Light has to branch itself off because right now, what is it, Hood? You probably know this off the top of your head. What is it? 25% of Gen Z now identifies themselves as alphabet. What is it? Is it 20 or 25?
I'm not sure the exact numbers, but you're in the ballpark. It's an incredible number.
So they're looking at it like the people like us, we're going to be dying off soon. So they're trying to pander to them early on. But right now, they're only 1% of the actual beer market share. In the meantime, while they can pander to that, they can also destroy the loyalty of the company. I don't know if you've noticed, but again, Bud Light is the picture perfect company. Their market share has been going down completely. Now, Hood is right. I mean, I'm sorry, Friedman is right. They have so many other brands that can offset that, but Bud Light as a brand, it's in the toilet. And you got to think that this is deliberate like that. Are you familiar with what's going on with Target right now, Bernie?
Oh, no. What's up with Target?
Hood, you always up on these. You know?
What are they leaving Chicago like everybody else?
No. Not just closing the stores. So right now, I don't know which one of these months it is. I get confused or whatever, but they now have a whole line of clothes dedicated to like babies happy I'm trans or I'll get you a link in a second. There's videos.
Yeah.
You saw
it.
Yeah,
I saw it. I showed it to the wife just to make sure we weren't spending any money at Target.
No. But before you
technically, that's old news. They've been doing that for a couple of years now.
No, but Hood, they've rolled it out even more now. To whereas, you know, this isn't like 1 or 2, 3, 5 TikToks. It's people now trying to start a movement. Like, okay, look, matter of fact, you got Matt Walsh literally coming out now talking about a nationwide Target ban. Okay.
Yeah, it is. She Mrs. Friedman said there's just a whole bunch of pink stuff in the boys section at Target. Like a big ocean of it.
Hey,
like,
share those links for me because I think I am going to go. I'm going to put a show together about this kind of stuff because it's crazy. They are defending their right to like sexually damage the children. Like I'm trying to be really, really clean with the language here.
If you feel the air, I'll find it. Just give me a couple minutes. But my general point is that a lot of these people, you know, these Marxist capitalists, wannabe socialists, they have this perception that the reason that they don't have shit is that the corporate, you know, for somebody to make money, somebody has to lose. That's their simple-minded perspective, okay? So they realize we just got to destroy it, but we can't come out and say we need to destroy y'all. So we're going to do it under the diversity and inclusion. We're going to sponsor drag shows now, you know, which they know is going to turn off the traditional buyer, especially you talking about children. You know, so that's just my theory on that. I'm going to find these links. Just give me a second.
Yeah, no, that is a wild one. It's
darker than you think, man.
What is Friedman? You trying to say something? You typed something in the back.
That I just put a link in there for Heckler and Koch. They had an intern do some woke stuff on Twitter in reference to the Miller Lite ad. And they faced an immediate backlash, and the link I put in the back is their reversal.
But it was one of their employees acting alone though.
I don't know any of that. What I know is on Twitter they made a woke comment in response to the Miller Lite ad where they said, "Hey, we support women, blah blah blah," and they did a response in that thread, right? And said something about supporting women, yada, 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 right? So basically they faced a huge, a huge backlash immediately. And so Heckler Koch said, hey, We do not engage in identity
There it is.
politics. A policy was violated, changes were made, and that was that. Because that's the response you want to see. Right?
Yeah. I see. Let me drop that down.
I didn't know if I was on
This
mute or
stuff.
not, but let me ask this.
Go ahead.
You've got to be, I'm speaking to this. Listen, I don't care what people want to be in all this, but when you put that on children, even I think you cross the line. I'm not one of these people that's going to go out and protest and all this, but you selling articles, not woke baby, trans women are real baby, on a 3-year-old. If that's not indoctrination, I don't know what is. And the sad part is that they Trojan horse this upon so-called Black struggle things or Black people. And Black people are like, well, why are you tripping about that? They get discriminated too, and it's like, dude, you don't get it.
Yeah. They do that all the time. And yeah, I mean, me and Hood talk about that a lot on the Saturday show, that how they basically they've gentrified the Black struggle. The Black struggle get lumped in with the trans and LGBTQ struggle. They become one in the same, and that's sort of the plan. They want to lump everything and mash everything together, and then have Black people. Black people advocating for some stuff that ain't got nothing to do with them. But go ahead.
Yeah, but the so-called, I don't want to refer to them as leaders, but we'll say the voices in the community, they too afraid to go against that.
Right.
Roland Martin, no, he ain't going to go up against Target.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he'd rather piggyback them. Go ahead, Free.
No, I was going to say liberals have to get their return on making Black people beyond criticism. Right? So now Black people are political human shields that can't be criticized, right? They just want to put their policy behind it, and then their policy is safe as long as it's got a Black face on it.
Oh, I think I get what you're saying. So basically, it's that whole thing of if you criticize it, then you'll be a racist type of thing.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And the gays have that same stranglehold going right now. That was part of their effective strategy, effective tactic, to where we can do anything, roll it out. You say anything, you're homophobic. And that's the Jesse Jackson and Jesse Jackson's strategy. That's the who's the gay equivalent to Jesse Jackson?
Well, before you say Jesse Jackson, see, his strategy is a little bit different because I've done a lot of research on him. What he does, similar to Al Sharpton, what Hood mentioned, what Jesse does, you know where Jesse Jackson's money comes from? And you won't believe who uncovered this, man. Jesse Lee Peterson wrote a book back when he was sane about Jesse Jackson, go figure. And the way Jesse got his money, most of Jesse's money came from in the 80s and the 90s from these liquor distribution ships that he owned in Chicago. They basically sued, I don't know who owned Coke 45 or who was Coke 45's distributor, but you remember that hubbub back in the 90s, malt liquor's targeted to Black people and all this other stuff or whatever, why y'all targeting ass to Black people for malt liquor? Because Black people drank malt liquor at the time, But he basically negotiated behind the door deal that, look, y'all don't show these ads, cut us into this distribution ship of these liquor stores. So imagine this, every liquor store in Chicago that's getting, they're getting a cut off of that. It ain't just like owning a liquor store. You're making big money from that. That's how Jesse was making his money. Let me throw one more at you. I remember I was in school at the time. Jesse filed some kind of lawsuit. Friedman, you might remember this, on Black college graduates not getting into Wall Street at the time, right? And they're like, it's unfair. These guys got business degrees. Why aren't they getting hired or whatever? So they raised a hubbub. And one of those, Merrill Lynch, one of those companies on Wall Street said, okay, look, we'll hire this. And Jesse went to the Black people who, on behalf he was representing, and basically said, I get 10% of your first year's salary. I kid you not. I'm shit. Why not just get a recruiter and shit? But yeah.
Well, I want to go back a little bit. Oh, did I cut someone off?
No. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. I was gonna say one of the things that was mentioned earlier was that Black people get like a shield of being invulnerable to any criticism. There's a thing in the LGBT, that community where there's a lot of Black men who are obsessed with white men, and they call them snow queens, right? So they can use themselves as shields for the white agenda within the that community, right? And there's a gay Black man who was interviewed by Dr. Gigi maybe a year or two ago. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was talking about this a little bit, and he calls himself same gender loving and not LGBT, that community. Yeah, because he identifies that there is a racial dynamic in that community where you'll see a lot of the Black men in dresses and the white men dress as men. Right? Like they have a power dynamic in there that has some of that race play stuff in it. And then it doesn't really get talked about. But when you see it at these, what do you call it, the pride festivals and stuff like that, it becomes very apparent. And then you see how they kind of pursue each other and deal with each other. There's a weird dynamic in there. And then it gets expressed in the political sphere as well.
Yeah. Deadly Raver. Sometimes the super chat is weird like that. Like sometimes if you type a comment, they won't let you super chat it, but they'll let you send it. They might let you send it without a comment. They may let you send it without a comment. If so, just go ahead, Sir Tice.
He could have a VPN on, or he could say one of the a bad word or what have you. That has happened to me. And when I say a bad word, I mean it could be one of the banned words, So if you got a VPN and by the way, you don't know what that word it could be. It could be queen. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, that could be. But Carlo in the building with $10 super chat, he says, Ish is wild. I think it might get worse next month. Oh, they're gonna go ham in June. We already know that. June being Pride Month. They gonna go. This is just the early.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
This is just a little preliminary stuff going on.
This is Beltane for those who know right now. It's gonna get worse after Beltane.
They're breaking out the big guns next month. But Trey D in the building says, much needed topic for discussion. Thank you very much for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everything.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
Appreciate everybody who supports the stream. Appreciate it. All right, where we at here? We see we at the hour and 30-minute mark. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Damn it, I got Patreon stuff to finally quit playing and upload. Do got some Patreon stuff that's already done. Just got to upload it. I am Jules, who's on the panel, sends super chat. He says, for your time and effort, keep up the convo. Thank you very much. Much.
Are you going to be buying me any more Adidas, or you don't buy Adidas anyway?
Me, I've never bought a lot of Adidas. I mean, I'm not some sneaker person. I wear more casual shoes. I mean, typically if I get shoes, let's say I'm working out in some shoes, they'd probably be Nikes. Yeah, I don't buy a lot of Adidas, but I guess I'll participate in the boycott, but I'm a non-sneaker head, so chances are if I bought some Adidas, it would be by accident. Well, dang, I bought shoes for my kids though, but I don't know about Adidas. They earned the boycott. They earned the boycott, even though I wasn't a major customer. But
yeah, see, I buy the workout clothes like Omega Dread says or what have you. Not that I have a full tracksuit, but this doesn't. But I go to the outlets for this stuff. I think it's all overpriced anyway. That's why I go there. But this doesn't. What did they show? A man as a woman? I saw, or it was in your thumbnail. That was sick, man.
People really annoyed at Adidas. It's all because of the model. It's unclear how they identify, but some are saying Adidas should be boycotted for going woke. The company says the swimsuit's part of a pride collection.
I always pause it right on the hairy-chested man in the bathing suit. It's some worse imagery and worse pictures where the bulge in the swimsuit is just way too damn visible. But But that's it right there. That's I mean it's a lot of images.
Celebrating LGBT plus people.
It's a lot of images all over of this stuff, and it's either damn it, I can't. My mouse ain't working. Trying to get that off the screen.
It would get stuck on that.
Yeah. It's worse. It's worse imagery that you could look up.
I'll take your word for it. Shout out to Katie. I'm on the New Balance shoes too, but yeah, that's nobody is sitting at a board saying this is going to increase our sales. This is our stock point. That's why I say they're just dropping a grenade inside.
Man, that is an interesting theory, man. I swear I would have never thought about that. That they are,
trying to crumble it brick by brick on the inside versus top.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is in a roundabout way. That's their way of we want to smuggle out our agenda and destroy them at the same time. And in their mind, they're defeating. They work their way on the inside, and they're defeating the patriarchy. That's in their mind. That's what they're doing.
Now,
let me go. And hopefully some gay person build a company that competes. I don't know. And
I think what's going to happen, you're going to see some companies. I don't know how this ESG score plays into companies like Adidas and Nike versus manufacturing companies. I haven't researched it like that, but I do think that one of these Budweiser's, basically one of these consumer type brand companies or direct to consumer specifically, what I do think that they're going to do, they're going to come to some group like a black group, and sponsor something to make inroads, just like many of the companies do. Whenever there's things go down, they always come back to the black people and such. And it's going to be a situation where I'm not down with that, but they did give us money, so we should support them. But that's the ulterior motive. I do sense that's potentially coming down. But look for, like I said, when have you ever thought of Bud Light ever sponsoring anything that's air quotes black? So if you see this coming in the summer.
Oh, Bud Light used to smudge a bunch of stuff that was black. I mean, they
No. Budweiser did, not Bud Light. Distinction. Granted, it's the same Anheuser-Busch, but I'm saying Bud Light specifically. No, I know about the Budweiser Superfest and all that. I came up with all that. Okay. Yeah, that's the
Jamie Foxx used to have his show sponsored by Bud Light, specifically by them. So I know that they do that because they just want to have brand recognition. I mean, that's their big things. But the big problem with Anheuser-Busch is that they diluted themselves, much like Gallo Brothers. That's just what happens in capitalism. Like you get so big of a brand, and then you try to cut costs, and you wind up cutting quality. And this just cuts the quality of the brand itself. So there's a big difference that they just won't recover. You'll just see them trickle and trickle and trickle, unless they do something radical. And not radical like this. I mean,
I know what you mean. Fair point.
Well, no, I think they're good with the dwindling because they're just buying up the brands that are growing. Basically, they just keep that formula, whatever it is, and it hangs on as long as it can, as they buy Goose Island and IPAs and so forth and so on. I mean, heck, I think the second largest beer is Modelo. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're owned by Carlos Slim too.
Yeah, it's I think they're okay with it going down, knowing that they make their money during the summer, right? Their Christmas season. I don't think they mind.
Modelo is the second largest. Which one is the largest?
Bud
Light. I don't know why. It seems like I see more
Heineken,
or Corona, or
I
was out. I watched the first half of the Lakers game. Oh, and congratulations, Sir Tice. Bron didn't. It's down 2-0.
I want to give Jamal Murray his props and his flowers. I ain't worried about them. All right, we need to talk about the winners. Can continue.
It was some guys in there. It was some brothers at the bar. 'Cause I watched the first half of the game. Out at a restaurant at a bar and grill with a real big ass movie theater looking TV in that thing. But it was a guy in there. He was just sitting right up front, just rooting and cheering so hard for Denver. Here in Michigan, it was just beyond the normal. Like you ain't from Denver, So I'm like, I can just see the LeBron hate just coming out his pores. Like he wasn't rooting for Denver, he was rooting against LeBron, and I was like, he wanted them Sir Tice type niggas. But anyway,
absolutely, I stand on that. Hey, Freeman. So it seems what you said, and the brother Jules, you seem to be very familiar on this. It seems like what these American companies, because it was Miller and Bush, right, that are the top two. But what they did was these imports or these IPAs, instead of just trying to, create something that would compete with them, they just bought them. Is that the general gist? Or like, okay,
there's like Miller Coors, SB Miller, InBev, which is like it's a Belgian company and a Brazilian company, and then there's something else. I'm thinking, God, I can't remember. But there's other like mid-tier, like Dogfish, Genesee, that get scooped up or failed. Yingling is another one. There's a bunch of like mid-tier beers that are gaining market share too.
Just to make sure that I don't. The only reason I brought up when I was at the bar, just because it don't sound like I was just talking random. The reason I brought that up is I was looking around to see what everybody was drinking, see if I saw any Bud Lights. No, not a single Bud Light. That's when I noticed that everybody drinking Corona. And I was trying to figure out, was that a response, so to speak? Because there was a lot of people there, and not a single person. There was a lot of people there. A lot of people had beers in their hand. Nobody had a Bud Light in their hand. But I didn't know if that was just. I was just trying to spitball and figure it out.
I think that's funny because I've been doing this experiment myself. There's some events I go to where Bud Light is the primary beverage or distiller, whatever you call it, where they have like it's either Bud Light or Miller, right? And I see nobody now. Again, that's down here. It's a little bit different in Michigan, but that's their main market. Now, I would think like in Michigan, well, I won't say the Midwest. I would think, like I said, most people I know I hang with, they're not Bud drinkers anyway. If they drink an American beer, it's a Miller Lite. That's what I'm just thinking. Yeah. And anybody, most people I know who do drink beer is Corona, and maybe Heineken.
Asura C got an interesting, some interesting information right there. He says there's some type of corporate woke score. I never heard of that, but I believe it. It sounds plausible. He says there's some type of corporate woke score that they're competing for, introduced by George Soros.
Let me speak on that. I spoke on that. That's that ESG, environmental something.
Sustainability.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. So basically, how much do you give to charities? How much of your, I don't know if it's your board is people, I hate this term, but people of color, how much gas you put. I'm spitballing here or whatever, it's things like that. And if you're a company that has, all of these things, you have a high ESG score. This is why some companies will just create those BS positions, that do nothing, but they can say, we have the most diverse workforce, and it's a bunch of people that's doing nothing.
So I'll give you a good example of what it's supposed to do. I don't know, Friedman might be old enough to remember this, but like network TV used to be a lot of like rural white people on TV, like Beverly Hillbillies, Mayberry RFD, Green Acres. At a certain point in like 1970, there was a rural purge on TV, right? They cut off all those shows all in the same like year or 6 months. And then they started putting up all the stuff that we could think of that we liked, that we can remember, like Good Times, the Jeffersons, all this different stuff. And the thing is, none of the audience was asking for it, right? But they used it to basically shift the people's narrative of what they saw on TV. And the closest thing they had for white folks was like Archie Bunker and what was that show? These were the days. I can't remember the name.
All in the Family.
All in the Family, right? But this is an example of how programming can be done by corporations, and the motivation who might have done it, who might have done it, we know, but why it was done, we kind of see in the retrospect, to kind of paint a narrative on one of the biggest marketing tools in the universe, which is, American media. If you do that now through all the multitude of corporations we have today, from, the Fortune 500 down to like the mid-level companies that are mostly regional, you can see people trying to make a shift again. And so, and as a Bush doing this, it's another chink in the armor of trying to change people's public perception. Basically, this isn't new. It's been done before.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, and that's, you know, what this thing interesting about the rural purge is that a lot of what they replaced it with was like a lot of the downtrodden black narrative or the black crime narrative kind of came in like right after that.
What examples what do you mean? You said the downtrodden black crime
like
narrative?
Good Times, like Hill Street Blues.
Oh, okay, I
right?
got you.
A lot of crime and drama shows, right?
Yep.
Norman Lear.
Basically it went from the family shows to the here's the hood motherfuckers. You know, you go into the 90s, New York Undercover. You know, it's the younger hoods now, but they dress nice. You know, or I should say, they're wearing hip hop gear. But that's kind of what he's getting at.
Yeah, no, I got it. See, I was confused because like when we talking about Good Times, that's still a family show. It's just, you know, taking place in the hood. But now I get what you mean by like the crime shows and all of that stuff. Yeah,
like you go from Green Acres to Mary Tyler Moore. What was that show? Like an old married couple to like a young single woman who's left at the altar, right?
Mary Tyler Moore to Murphy Brown.
Yeah. Society is shaped.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I'll even add one more to that, since people don't watch TV like they used to, as far as like network TV, but they watch more marathons. You can program somebody a little bit more, since people are watching things from a more Netflix streaming type format.
Actually, you know what? I want Three's Company to come back as a throuple, just because I think it would be so hilarious.
Three's Company.
And it would get utterly rejected. I think that's why I think it would be hilarious.
Three's Company would be interesting nowadays.
That'd be a mess. That'd be a mess. They tried to do something like that with that two guys, a girl in a pizza place. That was the guy from Deadpool. But they've never really captured that again, because John Ritter had like a very ambiguity about his sexuality. Like, he was a married guy, but if you look back at him now, like I can't remember who was saying it earlier, but there was a lot of guys who were on TV, especially like Hollywood Squares, who you knew were strange. But they would, like that guy who used to like throw flowers in the audience. I can't remember him, but I remember he had like a big mustache and blonde hair, and he just like wave at people like very flamboyantly. And I didn't get that he was different. I mean, I knew he was different, but I didn't get how he was different. Like a lot of that stuff was just there, but in the background. And it was just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically, you're saying that they were hiding it under our noses and we didn't know it, and now they're just blatant with it. You know?
Yeah. Because there was the uncle on not I Dream of Jeannie, the Bewitched, who was like very flamboyant, but you could tell, like, I didn't know what the words were, but I saw that this person was not like everyone else. So I there's like books that dissect some of this stuff a lot more accurately than I can, but American media is incredibly powerful. Neil Postman is a good author who did a couple of books about that. I know Amusing Ourselves to Death is a really good one. It kind of talks about a lot of this stuff. Like, we basically live in 1984, but it's just been going on for the past 100 years. That's just a broad way to describe it.
Right. Shout out
let me ask you a quick question. About
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's for you YouTubers. Do you all get to see, like, I know you get to see your Dems and all that and who's who, but like with the men's Dem, I know it's things like what's the Dollar Shave or whatever, or Dollar Shave Kit or things like that. Do you have an idea of like what's the advertisers for men of your demo or the demo that comes here? I've always been curious of that.
What do you mean by demo?
Okay, so your demo, I would think, is generally black men 25 and
you mean demographic? Okay, I didn't know what you mean by demo. Okay.
Yeah.
So
the types of advertisers, whereas a female makeup channel is probably going to be some Maybelline or some kind of, this. Do you see those kind of things? I'm curious because what we're talking about, it does deal with advertising and how dollars come in. So I'm just curious, do you have any insight from yours looking at the back end stuff?
Here's the thing: YouTube analytics, they don't show race. You can't see Maybe it's somewhere where you can look that up. I don't know where it is. I don't see race with my YouTube demographics. Only thing I get to see is gender and age, and so I think the advertisers would have to just either ask or guess, but I can see it. So, and one thing that you notice, a lot of men's channels, you know how you notice it with like Lapeef, or somebody would argue that's not a man's channel, but you notice it with Anton's channel. You notice it with Anton's channel, and a lot of others. They'll advertise Teach Hanley. That's I think that's I don't know what it is, but they sell products to men. So yeah, the advertisers do pay attention to. I mean, listen. If you're in advertising and marketing in any way, shape, or form, and you're not the least bit concerned or paying attention to who you're advertising to, what you're advertising to them, if you're using a company, a media platform, if you're not locked into what their demographics are, and you're just you have to be locked into that. You have to know exactly who you're advertising to. I could tell any advertiser my audience is majority men and majority, even though we don't get to see race, but I can just eyeball it and tell it's majority black male audience. So if you advertise, so it wouldn't make sense anybody coming to advertise lipstick on my channel. It just wouldn't.
No, I'm saying. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah. So I'm just saying that when you look at what Bud Light, Miller Lite, and Adidas is doing, yes, it's just goofy as hell. It just makes no sense. But go ahead.
No, where this ties into like politics and culture is one reason that they said that Fox News got rid of Tucker wasn't because, I mean, his ratings were like, he was getting like 4 and 5 million a night when the others were getting 1 million. But the problem wasn't his ratings. It was many of the advertisers don't want to be associated, or let me say this. What's the average Fox News viewer? It's probably 35 and up, white established guy, right? Maybe even 45 up.
Yeah.
So established, okay. The problem is the Mercedes-Benz, is the BMWs, they don't necessarily, they want that market, but they don't want the association of, they down with Fox News too. And Rupert Murdoch is looking like, because Rupert Murdoch, they're all in bed together. That's why I tell people when people say you sound like Fox News or whatever, I'm like, they're all in bed together. So it's just stupid to say that. But he can't make big money with My Pillow. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
yeah. Part of the problem is. Okay.
Well, I'll say this: if Fox News is getting the most views, it makes no sense at all for them to be saying that we don't want to be associated with Fox News, but that's what the majority of people are watching.
No, but that's what but Mercedes, the big, the investment funds. Like, okay, here, real quick. The same audience that would watch a golf tournament, like it's a different audience, obviously, that's going to watch, I don't know, SummerSlam or WWE. WWE, you're going to see a bunch of Slim Jim commercials. You may see an F-150 commercial. No, I'm just saying, it is what it is.
No, I get it. Yeah, I just
F-150 commercial, you watch a golf
thinking
tournament.
of the Macho Man commercials. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Anyway,
that's exactly what came to my mind, too. But when you're watching, to say, a golf tournament, you're going to see this kind of investment track, this investment firm, this type of, they're going to show you some family luxury Mercedes. That's the audience that Fox wants.
Yeah, Charles Schwab. They want Ernst & Young.
Exactly. And they were only getting the My Pillow guy. By the way, it's not a bad pillow. But no, but in all seriousness, don't ask how I got one. But no, but in all seriousness, they weren't getting that kind of advertising. And at the end of the day, they're in business to take, money. Now, I personally think that this whole advertisers and all this whole, I think the model of people going to where the news is to individuals versus networks is, unfolding. That's why I'm kind of curious about where the advertiser is going to go, because they're going to go where the eyes are eventually.
Yeah, one of the problems is Tucker Carlson's in an elite family, right? And he attracts elite eyeballs. And a lot of those people, they'll take the My Pillow advertisement just to get to hear what he says. Because, I mean, his show is not news, it's opinion. So there's that portion. But a lot of these people do think similarly to him, or they don't really care enough, and they'll only, they'll literally take the meat and spit out the bones, and they'll just deal with what they need to. Most of those people, they get their news from the Wall Street Journal because their biggest concern is money, and so they'll go for some where there's the facts, and they go for the geopolitics, and they try to understand like the broader picture. So they don't need the opinion as much because they might not be, a hardcore Episcopalian or Catholic like Tucker is, and so their worldview might not be there, but their worldview is on the Capitol and how that's moving. So they want to get Charles Schwab. Maybe they'll get him on Twitter. Who knows? But he'll make more money on Twitter than he ever did at Fox in the long run.
I'm curious how, not to prolong this, I'm very curious because Twitter is designed for scrolling. They've tried this whole video thing before and it didn't work. I'm shocked he didn't either take PBD up on his offer. Did you hear that? He offered him $100 million or what have you. I'm surprised.
I don't know how that worked. $100 million or what? He signing him to a 10-year contract?
It was a 5-year, he said, but we don't have to because he didn't take it. I'm shocked he either didn't do that or go to some place like a Rumble or YouTube where the infrastructure's there, where Megyn Kelly's on YouTube, Jason Whitlock's on and they're doing numbers. So I'm very curious how he's going to do this on Twitter.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm just now hearing about him doing something on Twitter. Like, I don't. Anyway, Salty Balls in the building with $20 super chat. He says, magicians. Magicians 2 and 3. He says, thy enemies conferred an army of an assortment of weirdos and misfits against me, from half-naked gestures in sporting clothes to rotunda on display. Wow. Rotunda niches on display. Hold the line, brethren. Keep the pressure on. Keep the pressure on. Well said. Words of wisdom from Salty
great
Balls.
Salty Balls.
the great Salty Balls. Commercials will begin to look like the opening credits for Fame 1980s. I have not seen that. I will look it up. I'm familiar with it is. I just can't recall in the opening credits of how it looked. He says, if you know, you know. Or maybe I shouldn't know. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't know. But thank you, Salty Balls. Do appreciate you coming on through with the support.
Suck on my chocolate salty balls. Put them in your mouth. Put them in your mouth and suck them and suck them.
Shout out to you. All right. What were we saying? We are closing it. Well, let's see. Yes, at the 1 hour and 52 minute mark. 1 hour and 52 minute mark. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Omega Dress Gaming Channel in the building says, and I'm random. I don't know what that means either, but thank you for do that. Thank you for now. I'm reading the text while I'm looking at it. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. You got me slightly curious to see that opening of Fame, but I don't want to see it. You love Fame. No, I do want to see what he's talking about. But I reckon that is some nonsense. But yeah, so where we at here? We're talking about the damn the whole Nike thing, hairy chest and bulge gate. They rolling these commercials out, advertising to God knows who the hell you're advertising to, who the hell you're talking to, what are you trying to sell, who are you trying to sell it to. Good theory's been put on the table that they're trying to blow up a company from within, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to Disney. That's what they're doing to Marvel. That's what they're doing to Adidas, and now Bud Light and Miller Lite. If they can get any decision-making idiot to
NBA
co-sign the NBA. Yeah, Phil Jackson did. I didn't cover it, but Phil Jackson came out and said he quit watching after all the BLM stuff was on the court in the bubble.
And lefty Negroes lost their lid, even though he didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah. Well, okay. What did he say? He said,
He basically said that it was all.
He basically said that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. If you remember the exact line, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, he called in the past when he called your boy Akron guy's crew a posse, Negroes lost their lid. Then Snotty Pippen came out and said, "Fill the Oasis," or whatever. Okay, whatever. So then when he came out and said, "I haven't watched it in 2020, they all this messaging on the court and all this. They shoot too many threes, whatever. I just don't find it interesting." And now that's when like, see, look at all that. He a racist. Whether he's a racist or not, I don't care. That's his thoughts. He don't have to watch. To me, it's that simple.
Yeah, you're not racist because you don't like political messaging being on the court at a basketball game.
So you're telling me you didn't enjoy Justice passes the ball to say her name. Say her name, scans the defense or whatever. Say her name, looks in the post. So it pass the inbound pass to Liberty shoots. I'm saying, when they had those names on the back of their jersey.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was only thinking about how I know it said Black Lives Matter and some other stuff on the court.
Say her name brings up the call. What happened to it was like say her name. Black Lives Matter looks over. Oh, there's a foul right there by Vogt.
I forgot about that.
If that wasn't pandering, I don't know what the hell was.
Yeah, Salty Ball says, "Never mind, please don't." Yeah, okay, I probably won't look it up. But no, that's some funny stuff. And Jackie Jack making fun of me because I said I reckon. Yeah, I always say I reckon. That's an old man word, but I use it. But
people probably from Mississippi or something.
No, okay. I probably just heard it in a movie and then just started using it. But no, man, that's wild. That's wild. But no, I don't think Phil said nothing wrong there. He did take a shot at taking a shot at all the threes that get taken. He is taking a shot at the current game because a lot of the current so-called experts say that the offenses that they run today are much more superior than to the triangle offense. And
I hear that get into another distraction. I'll go back to the greater point. I do think that it's invaded hell. The NFL, now every team has to have, or they're pushing for a female coach on every team. And again, it's not about, to me, if you get the best, you get the best. But this is deliberate. You gotta have a woman.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is when people push it in your face, it's a lot more disagreeable. There's a lot of stuff that's in media that people don't agree with, and it has a political bent to it, but people can digest it easier. Like the movie, I'll give you a good example is the movie Dirty Dancing. It's about a young girl finding herself a summer, but there's also a case for right to choice in that movie, right? Because there's the dad's a doctor, one of the friends of the dancers winds up getting knocked up, and then it has this argument of like, should she have had it, or should she risk herself? There's a lot of stuff that can be planted in instead of being overt and in your face over and over again. People have conversations about this all the time and don't mind media with it, as long as it's not just smashed in your face.
Yeah, and it's the intent, right? People understand the intent, right? It's not so much that that there is a woman in it. They're putting in a woman purposely, and you can tell because the rest of the movie sucks. You know what I mean? They're not making, it's not Aliens, right, with Sigourney Weaver. It's just some terrible movie with some prop women in it, and it looks terrible.
Ghostbusters.
Like, no one got mad at that. Yeah,
Ghostbusters,
same thing.
I mean,
but to what he's saying, but the putting women in has always been there. Well, not always. Let me just say, like even the A team, right? George Papard didn't want women in the A team, right? But they wanted to put a girl in the A team, just because.
They could have done it with Face potentially, but that's not what the original show was.
No, exactly. They just to add a woman to the show. Why? I don't know. Right? They wouldn't have received one more or less viewer with her in there. It's just the women for women's sake thing has just got to go. And that's the response to all the race swapping, right? And it's a shame because they race swap black people into bad movies.
Yep.
You know, you're just not. It's not like it's just a black person who won the role and they're awesome and it's going to be an awesome movie. The movies are crap.
This
Right?
reminds me of Othello, and I remember, if you can believe it, there was a time I used to argue on one side or whatever, right? And they're like, "Yeah, what is Othello doing being black?" And I'm like, "Oh, you dumb fuck! Othello was black." You know,
He was a Moor. He was a Moor. Yeah, the best.
Right.
I'm gonna say one of the
exactly.
two of the best performances of Othello I've seen were done by Star Trek captains. One was Avery Brooks, and the other one was Patrick Stewart.
Stacker Starve in the building with a $10 super chat. He says, Bernard, do you think it's over for the Lakers? It's over-ish. You know, on one hand, a 7-game series is supposed to start out 2 on one team's home court and then 2 on the other team's home court. And then that makes for, you know, it's so ideally you're supposed to defend your home court. So it's, you know, Denver was supposed to win their 2 at home. Lakers supposed to win their 2 at home. So that's how it's supposed to be. That you know, that's in theory. So in theory, they're fine. In theory, they're fine because they just got to win their 2 at home, like Denver won their 2 at home. But in practicality, when this where the Lakers got to use their imagination and try not to think that in order for them to win the series, they got to beat Denver, the number 1 seed, 4 out of the next 5 games. They got to go 4-1 going forward. That's the way that when you think of it like that, it's over. But if you just think of it in terms of they just got to win game 3 and 4, then they got a series. Then it's not over.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
I don't want to get into the matchup problems. Sticking back, you know, with the theme of the show, I am seeing a backlash, at least even in social. I see people. I think people are getting race fatigue, and the election's not even here yet. And that's going to be the number. By the way, I'm surprised you didn't cover this. Did you hear what Biden said at Howard University?
Mm-mm.
Did you, Friedman? I'll take.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell the audience what the number 1 threat? Friedman, what did President Joe Biden say? What the number 1 threat to humanity is for Black people?
White supremacy.
So he said to a bunch of 23, 24-year-olds graduating from one of the top Black institutions in the country that their number 1 threat is not globalism, it's not the economy, it's not even our national security, you know, those things. Or that their brothers and sisters, their fellow colleagues beneath them are reading at such a piss poor rate, they may not be them in the next 5 or 6 years. Their number 1 obstacle is white supremacy.
To me, the biggest problem with him saying that is that for people who use that type of rhetoric to describe the problems in Black America, when we're talking about white supremacy and that being the biggest problem, what he doesn't understand as being the white male president of the United States who was born pre-civil rights movement, you're the leader of white supremacy as far as the people who
effectively
talk about white supremacy. Like
you're the let me get this in real quick. You're the motherfucker that wrote the 94 bill. You're the motherfucker that went.
Oh, that's another level to it. I wouldn't even go in there.
I can't believe. Right, I couldn't believe. I'm like, what the hell are these kids learning? That somebody didn't stand up and say, "What are you?" Or like old boy was on your show. What? Mm-hmm. You know, somebody didn't say, "You've got to be kidding us."
Did he say biggest obstacle, or was that the specific word?
Say that one more time. No, he said
obstacle was the biggest word.
The obstacle, biggest challenge. It was one of the same, but this was at their commencement address. This wasn't just
the reason I want to say that is
just curious. Did the crowd cheer when he said that?
I didn't. I read the speech. I didn't.
Okay, I just could see I could see the crowd cheering when he said that. It's like, but anyway, go ahead. I am Jules. You was about to say something.
Howard and Morehouse are 2 of the biggest feeder schools for Department of Justice, FBI, CIA, and that's why I'm asking: is he saying the obstacle or biggest challenge? Like, is it your challenge to maintain the system we currently have,
He
or
said biggest threat to them is
the
white
biggest threat?
supremacy. Yeah.
All right, well, it could be ginning them up, but yeah, you'll definitely see more infrastructure attacks and more, white unrest groups like that. That I'm not gonna say Nick F guy. He suggested some things smaller to that, but I want to see how that's gonna play out in the next few years.
Yeah, it's coming to a head, right?
Yeah,
you can see both sides have to. They have to escalate the rhetoric to maintain the racial rubric. And I think the response is I think people are going to live to regret white people thinking about race like black people.
Yep.
No, that's facts. That's facts, because that's what they're doing. That's what black people are sort of pushing white people to do. And secondly, that's what politics are starting to push white people to do.
Not even punch them in the chest.
Because they only have one model, right? The Democrat model is we're going to tell you who the racists are and we'll give you a program, and that's cool. So now, once you have more and more actual progress by black people, you have to ramp up the racism and find it in ever more tiny spots. Like now it's racist if there aren't enough grocery stores.
But hold on a second, Free. I got the exact quote, but let me jump in. So I would say the president is right. Yesterday, there was before Congress, there was a whistleblowers talking about how the FBI was weaponized against its own citizens, and how these 3 FBI agents who reported things like, wait a minute, we're being asked to follow people who are Catholic, who are speaking out against school boards, and I was working Chester cases before, and they spoke out and they got fired and they basically got their careers ruined. So, but if the FBI is a form of white supremacy, I would say he's right. But I do have the quote here. And he says, on the best days, enough of us have the guts and the heart to stand up for the best of us, to stand up against the poison of white supremacy, to single it out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland.
Jesus.
Wow.
Potentially, it can be.
I mean,
we're about to wrap this on up, but the Little Big Nate show too, and I do want to read this comment before we go. He says, Little Big Nate proved there's basically no system of white supremacy with 36 million brown illegals. That one right there is a big one that I've touched on that a lot, to where what would be the logic if somebody is in the business of upholding a system of white supremacy? What would be the logic of not being full on 100% full court press defensive stance against your border when non-white people are coming in here illegally like that? Like the mere fact that they're light and they pussyfoot around on that, and they fighting over a wall and all of this stuff. It's like clearly white people have just taken a knee on that. And I'm talking about just the run-of-the-mill average Joe white citizen is not caring that much. The politicians at the top is definitely not caring that much. And even the ones who act like they care, it's like they damn near just pay lip service to it. But like nobody is just really truly out to stop that. And so I think that's where the whole, one, not coming off as racist, diversity is our greatest strength, all of that. Like a lot of white people have embraced that at all levels, the poor white person to the politician who making the laws. They've embraced that shit. And once they've done that, then they're not trying to reign as supreme in their whiteness if they're supporting policies that's going to ultimately make white people be a minority in a country that supposedly by some people's rhetoric is their country.
Yeah,
they're making themselves a minority in it. Once you understand that, then you understand that white people not sitting up all day thinking about race. At least most of them not sitting up all day thinking about race in the way that black people think about race.
I disagree to a certain degree. Because all right, there's Bernie Sanders made that speech, made a lot of rhetoric points about the 1%, but there is a 9.9% that really exists to keep a buffer class between the top 1% and then the bottom 90, right? But there's also a bureaucratic administrative class of people that exist that are basically those Howard students, because don't be mistaken, if you graduate from Howard, top of your class, middle of your class, you're pretty much open to getting into the top 20% of American society financially, right? Those are the type of people that are there as another buffer class. And there's a lot of white folks that are in both of those groups, or all of those groups, really. But the ones who are at the bottom 60% are basically kind of fucked. They're politically ineffectual. They might have the numbers for certain things, but not for nationwide takeover type of things. They can definitely sow some chaos, and trust me, I think that is going to come. But you'll see them maintain political holdouts where they can, especially the South, Midwest, Upper Midwest.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. If there's a top 1% and that they care most about maintaining their 1% status, and then there's the top 10% that technically got some pull and power and could make it into the top 1% potentially. Here's the deal. If they're being lackadaisical about protecting the border, what they're going to ultimately create, and what they're being lackadaisical about protecting the border, coupled with the political ideology of so many white people on the left, what they're going to make is that class that's going to politically overthrow them. It's not going to take money out of their pocket, but the people, it's going to become a time in this country where it isn't just my prediction in 30 years. Hopefully I live to see it, where it's going to be hard for a white, it's going to be hard for a straight white man to get elected. It's going to, that time is coming. We're demographically almost getting to that. We're going to demographically start getting to that point. And once we start getting to that point, then it's going to turn into, it's going to essentially turn into whatever the agenda of the group of people that are not white and male, which I mean that and one could argue that could be a good thing. Sit back and wait for it to happen because y'all are black. You're black. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But here's the deal: where it's going to end up being a situation where people of color are basically going to be running America.
The majority.
The people of color are going to be the majority. They're going to have the vote, and that means that they're going to be the majority of the politicians and the majority of the lawmakers, and which means they're going to be the ones essentially running the country. And we're slowly walking towards that point. And look, the only thing I'm saying with it is that the argument that white people are up all day thinking about race and ruling over people, they're clearly not if they're supporting policies that's going to ultimately lead to that future. They're clearly not thinking. I remember when Jared Taylor said he was talking to a black nationalist or whatever. I forgot what the guy title was, but he said they shockingly agreed on. Hold on, real quick. Somebody, I'm hearing background noise. Yes, okay. The black nationalist said to Jared Taylor, he was like, man, y'all just giving this country away. And he basically made it clear that if I was in y'all position, I for damn sure wouldn't be doing what y'all doing right now with all this stuff. But so I mean, he's basically saying that taking it back to what we were saying before, the black nationalist is saying, oh, fuck that, I'd have a wall up. I'd be securing that border. I'd be making sure that our numbers stay stronger. I'd be making sure that nobody else increases their numbers. If I was in a position that white people were in, I'll make sure this country stays vast majority black. And y'all are not doing that, which means y'all are giving it away. Black nationalists said that to Jared Taylor. So let that much sink in whenever somebody is talking about white supremacy and white people's desire to rule over, like they rule over everybody. There's a top 1% who want to maintain their 1% status. Some people call that the global elite or whatever. You can give it another name, But as far as American national politics, nah, they
Class.
ain't. They not doing it like that. That's not what I'm seeing.
No, it's not. The divider is class, man. The divider is ideology. I mean, hell, a black guy just won the Republican nomination for governor in Kentucky. Why? Because he's of that class. Because he has the right ideology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
You know what I
going
mean?
to say, I'm going to push this, that you're going to see a lot more black folks going Republican because of the immigrant classes in here. And they are very, like, black Americans are typically very capital focused, but you're going to see a lot more like white collar, blue collar, pink collar, gold collar, black immigrants who are going to be pushing in that because they just don't see that this identity politics is going to make them much headway. You already see it.
You just set a minefield there here, Brother Jules. But what I was going to say is out in, because I know he's trying to leave, but with them shipping these immigrants to Chicago and New York, and black people are actually seeing this in their neighborhood now they're finally getting it.
Yeah, I think it'll be I think it's just going to be a 3-way split in maybe like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well.
OG
Live in
is
a good
saying,
zip code.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was trying to wrap it up. OG is saying, how long Spain left Mexico? You just don't understand how the system of white supremacy work. All due respect, what is a religion? What is the language?
I mean, I get the Neely Fuller thing,
See,
but
people like
Somebody break that down. What is he trying to say there?
Well, he misspelled a bunch of things, but
yes, Jules, you're correct about
yeah, he's going to Neely Fuller thing. Was it white supremacy is the most powerful thing in the universe? Which I agree. At one point, they were running the shop as far as domination. I mean, something like 30% of all Americans had some affiliation with the Klan, men and women, up until like the 1960s. Something like 40% of the Klan's budget came from the FBI, so that they did have very strong governmental links. And there's always like the White Knights, the White Line Mafia, the Dixie Mafia. There's a bunch of white folks who have run a lot of stuff as like a hidden hand. But to say that that is the only thing that they run off of is the race. Look, race is a good way to cordon off a lot of wealth and keep it in your family. So if your family's white, you're going to do that, however that is. You do it with a lot of financial tools. You can do it with political violence. You can do it with physical violence. There's a lot of ways you can do that. But what I'm saying is marry well, get into a good zip code. You could do that on class level, which I think Friedman has been saying a lot. And I think that's more accurate to the truth nowadays.
All right. We about to wrap this on up. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the stream today. I'd like to participate here in the stream today. Thank you once again. I think that was D-Rock Dan at the start of the show to send the Cash App, double checking, making sure I didn't miss any more Cash Apps. No, I did not. Thank you D-Rock Dan. Appreciate that. It might potentially be a show tonight. It might be a show tonight. The night show schedule Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. EST. We will see. I will reconvene with not reconvene, maybe convene, talk with the team, see if we can put together a group to do the night show, see if we can put it together. And we will go from there. But thank you once again, everybody. Do appreciate each and every one of you. Patreon and members only content is going to be uploaded real soon. So shout out to all the members and all the patrons. Do appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.